We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it is Sunday, but it's being recorded Friday night. And our guest today is our co host is Jace from Texas. Opportune time to talk to him with some of the stuff that's going on down in Texas. And of course, what's going on throughout the country. It's a fucking mess, as it always is. So, Jace, welcome back. And like we were saying before, there's never a shortage of things to talk about.
I know, I remember those days that used to be the media used to be like a slow news day. I mean, those fucking
Yeah.
days are, I mean, it seems like ever since, like, we've been in a constant news cycle since the OJ trial. I mean,
Does seem like it.
it just seems like that 24-hour news. And I just remember people going ape shit over that stuff. And it's just like, God, take a fucking break, man. I mean, t go out and touch grass, do something.
Remember back in the old days when we were little and some big news story happened and we said, I'm going to be watching at 6 or 10 o'clock because that's when we'll get the information. And now you have a phone, you just pull it up and you got all kinds of different perspectives on this stuff. The problem is you don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of run into. I've kind of run that into with the kind of the left too, because it seems like what they're doing now is they're kind of being as sensational as the right is.
Yeah,
Like they want to be the first to report it. And I know that they don't maybe have the best, reputation or whatever, but I think if you see it on TMZ, I mean, it's pretty sad when TMZ is more reputable than CBS. But
absolutely.
I mean, you even had Harvey come on there and talk about all the gaslighting Trump's doing. This is a guy that voted for him. I mean, you're starting to see that. I know we've talked about this, but I don't know if you saw that caller that was on C-SPAN. Yeah, I voted
No.
for him, but it was a voter, I guess, after the Obama what the Obama, I guess, scandal. What I say when it was racism was what it was when he puts that thing there on True Social. Yeah, no fucking staffer did that. Sorry, not at 11 p.m. unless they're in bed with him. But they said they had enough. I go, motherfucker lies. He's getting paid off, and then this happens because I don't think what Trump realizes. A lot of the people that voted for Trump voted for Obama.
Yeah.
I I never understood that. I mean, I didn't really vote for any of them, either one of them. But I just don't understand how you went from Obama to Trump. And it's just, like you said, people were just hungry for a non-outsider or whatever. But he's totally, I mean, you're seeing more and more now that I think the Republicans maybe start to go away because they push back on him doing that. But then again, you have your ass kissers and bootlickers like Bill O'Reilly. Well, that we know that wasn't him, and no, we don't.
Well, we do know it was him, and if it wasn't him, it's his account, and he's the bottom line. And if you're going to cry about Charlie Kirk, you're going to have to acknowledge this. Um, I say something like Ashley, what's her last name? Ashley Bennett,
Babbitt.
whatever. Ashley Babbitt's got what she deserved, and people say, "How can you say that?" Well, because she was breaking into a building. The cops told her to stop. She didn't comply and she got her ass shot. So she deserved it. She was truly an insurrectionist. I want to talk a little bit about you're down in San Antonio, Texas. I want to talk about Texas because you got a few things going on that I think interest people. We haven't talked since the big election down there. And you and I have gone back and forth on whether or not Texas can go blue or not. And you've been a little dubious about that because you live there and you've seen what you've seen over the years. But we had this election near Houston. Donald Trump won this district by 17 points. Democrat comes in and wins by 14 points. That's fucking crazy. I don't know if people understand how big a deal that is. That is a big deal for that quick a change in like a year. That's crazy. What was your perspective on that situation?
Well, I think it brings back the fact that we're getting a lot of reports about him losing the Hispanics and the Hispanic vote, the Latino vote that really came out for him in 2024. And I think, even the most hardcore, they see I mean, they're against this ICE stuff because they're seeing this shit happen to their, to quote unquote, you know, their people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's happening to fellow them, but you're also seeing it now happen to I mean, ain't nobody safe. It used to be minorities they went after, but shit, they're going after white people too. Ain't none of us fucking safe from this shit. But I think in Texas, it's a real right to carry. You guys were talking about the castle doctrine or whatever. I don't think we have that here. You just shoot on sight is what we have.
Yeah,
And I mean, people love their guns, and even Abbott pushed back about when they were talking about the guns. But this should surprise nobody. In his first term, he talked about, going after the guns because you're not going to be able to, take over a country if people have guns. This goes back to the British, back, the original Revolutionary War. I mean, they didn't want us expanding and going past, the original colonies because we would breed and multiply and become a bigger force. And, America, I mean, it's like, I don't know if I sent you that, but there was a clip saying that, liberals have, guns too, but they just don't talk about them, kind of like, Republicans with their abortions.
yeah,
So I mean, it's a lot. I think you're seeing a lot of it down here, and I think a lot of the ICE stuff isn't very popular. I mean, it's yeah, you're going to have your whatever do it, but I don't think red. If you're a red Republican, you don't you everything you stand for. Don't tread on me. Tyranny. All this stuff. I mean, you're seeing your guy do that now, and I'm thinking even, yeah, I'll still see the Trump fucks around, but I don't think we see as much as in there. And I think start gelling 5-year-old kids and stuff. I mean, it's
yeah.
underwater, and I think that's happening here in Texas.
Well, the win for this Democrat in this district, it obviously is a big swing 31 points in a year's time. You've always been questioning whether or not Texas can be blue or not. Did that election tell you something that you needed to learn about what the future might hold for Texas?
It tells me one thing that I think the Republicans aren't going to show up for because Trump's not on the ballot. I don't know if they've totally given up on MAGA because I'm convinced MAGA, the name in name only, will live after Trump. But I don't think people are as excited. But you kind of look what's going on in Texas. We had Uvalde and we had the power grid issue, and that was an election time for Abbott. And he still won. He won
Yeah,
handily.
yeah,
But you're having candidates now like Tellerico, who I'm real high on right now because I haven't really heard from Jasmine Crockett too much. I see Tellerico out there. I see him on the news shows. I don't really see Jasmine Crockett anywhere. But I think we had an issue. I don't know if you heard about this. Colin Allred, who dropped out of the race, said something, and I don't believe it, that Tallarico said something about him being an average black man.
yeah,
I don't know if I believe that or not because Ken Paxton was tweeting like that. Corn was on top of that. It sounds like that bit of thing, and Corn and Allred took the bait. He took the bait and ran with it. So I've already seen kind of on threads people like me that are Caucasian defend Tallarico. And you're seeing progressives on the other side. Well, how a big surprise, one white guy defending another. We didn't need this shit right now. And Colin Allred fed into that stuff. I
right.
think he's a little bitter for stepping out of the race. But I mean, I haven't really paid too much attention to it because I'll vote for either one of them. But the Democrats didn't need that stain on them right now. They didn't, Democrats take, obviously the Republicans can, have their guy convicted of, 32 felonies and they're okay with it, but you call somebody a name and Democrats are all up in arms. I mean, you got to get a thicker skin about that. It's politics.
Well, the thing about it is that that phrase, "he looks like a mediocre black man," that doesn't even sound like something Tallarico would say.
You said it all.
I mean, he's just, now if you told me Jasmine Crockett said it, I'd say, "Oh yeah, she said that." That would make sense coming out of her mouth, but not Tallarico. And this is what everybody's watching down there. You have a Senate race, and I've heard some things about it. You got Tallarico and you got Jasmine Crockett. They had a debate recently. Apparently, it was civil. Apparently, it was close, and they're trying to decide who is going to be the Democratic nominee. Sounds like there's still some state of flux with the Republican nominee. Cornyn is losing to Ken Paxton. Is that true in the polls?
Yeah, it's a weird poll because it's like Paxton is beating Cornyn by a big margin, but Tallarico is beating Paxton, but Cornyn is beating both Paxton and Crockett. So it's like, I mean, even Hawk talked about that. I saw him on TikTok talking about that guy, and I just wanted to say, well, it's fucking Texas. I mean,
Yeah,
it's Texas for you. And just seeing kind of the crap that I went through, I think that I hate to change my vote, Mike, but I think that Tallarico has a better chance of winning than Jasmine Crockett. I haven't really seen her too much. I've gotten a couple emails asking for donations, but I haven't really seen her out there pounding the pavement. Tallarico, at least locally, what I've seen, and granted, I don't watch the news, but I watch, I don't even have cable, but I stream it's like the local channel has the weather on there, and I stream it. And it's got all these people just bending over for Trump, and they're conservative, but they got Trump's vote. And it's like Cornyn. I don't think he hasn't Trump hasn't introduced Cornyn or Paxton yet, but both of them act like they did. And now
yeah,
what they're going after Paxton down here, they're saying that he helped. Paxton is like it was like something these Republicans are. They're it's so funny to see them. You'd think they'd be talking about Nancy Pelosi because that used to be the whole thing. Well, big city liberals like Nancy Pelosi. Now they're accusing each other of freaking supporting transgenders changes. I think somebody said that about Cornyn, but what Cornyn's running on down there is Islamic Jihad or something down here, and it's like I haven't really heard about that. But what they do with the Republicans is, and I think this is why I got kind of, but they always like to scare their base, and they do a good job of it. They do a good job of, Obama said at one time. I mean, I think this is when I kind of started coming around when Obama said, well, they're clenching their guns and their Bibles. And that pissed off a lot of people. And I'm like, well, he's fucking right.
yeah,
I mean, he's right about that, and, he talked about, his grandmother even being a little bit, prejudiced against him. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. And it's just, there was a thing that they were really doing when Obama was president. It was JD Helm, J Helm or JD Helm or something like that. That was some stuff going at the border that they said that, Obama was, threatening to, install martial law and do all this stuff. All this shit the Republicans accused Obama of doing. I see the Republicans doing it. I mean, it's
yeah.
like they're going into Minnesota, they're doing this shit, and they're not doing this shit just to be dicks about it. They're doing it to see what they can get away with.
Yeah, initially when we were talking about the Senate race there, I've said that I like Tallarico a lot. I think he's a solid guy. I thought he might be better off going into the House first before trying to go to the Senate.
Yeah.
And I thought Jasmine Crockett was the best choice because she's a fighter. Now, Tallarico's strong and he's smart. He's a good orator, uh, but he didn't have that, well, as they say in sports, he didn't seem to have that dog in him.
I don't know about that anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I don't either. But I heard the same polling that you heard that Jasmine Crockett would do worse against Cornyn and Paxton than Tallarico did. And I was wondering what that was. And then I realized what I was talking about. I'm talking about Texas, and Jasmine's a black woman. As
So,
sad as that may seem to say, that racism and that sexism is pretty prevalent in Texas. So it is maybe a long shot for a black woman to win a Senate seat in Texas. And Tallarico, on the other hand, he might pull some Republicans to his side because of his religious bent. I mean, he goes at the religion with the real truth and the real words, and he talks against the evangelicals and the Republicans. So he's going to get the Democrats if he's the nominee, but maybe he'll get some of the religious people because of his faith and the way he talks about religion, even though it's much different than what red states talk about. So I don't, again, I don't have any preference who wins, just so a Democrat wins. That would be a coup for the Democrats winning a Senate seat in Texas, and whatever it takes to get that done, I'm in.
I honestly think that I mean it sucks that we're still talking. We're in 2026 and we're still talking about fucking race.
Right.
But obviously, there's Democrats that are, don't like race and they're misogynistic. And that's, like Kamala, that's two things she's got against her. I'd vote for her in a fucking heartbeat,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff. And I do think that she would be the best, dog in the fight, so to speak. But I do think he's got something. I mean, he's a white guy. I hate to say it, but he's a
Yeah.
white guy and it's Texas. So, and he's also appeals to what we call the independents who Trump's lost. So I think what the Democrats need to do is they need to focus on getting Paxton to win the primary because I think that's their best shot. I don't trust Texas enough if Cornyn's running because he's got the Trump factor. Trump will probably, he's not probably going to endorse before the primary. He'll probably endorse, oh, I always knew Cornyn would get it or Paxton or whatever. And like I told you before, I mean, if there's anybody, if you want to see, a state, if you think Trump's bad, wait till you get somebody like Paxton in the fucking Senate. You think Stephen Miller's bad. I have just seen this Paxton guy. I mean, he's still doing stuff, and he's like, I mean, what they're doing now is Louisiana's taking a page out of Paxton's book. They're trying to go after California and New York about the abortion medication that were sent. And I think Newsom pretty much told that, Louisiana governor to fuck off, or attorney general,
Yeah.
whoever it was. But Paxton, I was really surprised that Paxton didn't. If he wouldn't have been convicted and he got convicted by Republicans.
Right.
Let me just tell you that it wasn't a bunch of. I mean, they blame everything on the Democrats. I mean, they act like fucking Ann Richards is still in the fucking state capitol. I mean, the Democrats have been dead as long as she has, and it's just I don't trust Texas enough not to vote for Cornyn, but I do think Paxton's unliked enough to where Tallarico can do it. But if Tallarico gets up there and runs against Cornyn, I don't know. I just, like I said, I really haven't seen Jasmine too much to really know what she's about. I watched kind of the debate and everything. I mean, like I said, I'd vote for her. I mean, I would vote for a ham sandwich, I'd vote for anybody with a D next to their name except probably Henry Cuellar. But
Yeah.
you talk about, Christians and the real Christians, man, me, Mike, I'm a man of faith, right? I saw
Yeah.
I saw something today that I totally and I donated to this man when he was running against a former cowboy, Herschel Walker, because I thought it was very important back then that we got this, and you people talk about, stuff, but Raphael Warnock, I have to say, as a pastor, I think, and I agree with this totally, I think Jesus is the biggest victim of identity theft in the country. He is so fucking right about
No, I agree with you. I wrote something on Facebook, which I don't typically do, and I
how
said,
that
"Honey,
goes.
I wrote." Well, I went fine. I went fine because people expect it out of me. But I said, "Honey, I wrote something on Facebook," and she goes, "I know, I saw it.
Uh-oh.
You pretty much laid it out where the Trumplafucks that are in our family, you're probably never going to talk to them again." And I'll just read for you what I said. Well, first of all, I got a heads up on Facebook. Now I had a Rational Boomer on Facebook, and they banned me. Somebody just came to me and said, "Oh, there's somebody out here with Rational Boomer on Facebook, and they're posting weird shit."
Is it that
But
guy
this
that has
is
150,000 followers on Twitter or
that
TikTok?
tick on TikTok. But this is what I wrote, and I wrote this because I really meant it. It says, A note to all Trump-lafucks, aka Trump supporters: if you still support this evil idiot, you are currently and will forever be considered racist, misogynistic, treasonous, and a PDF file by at least 70% of this country. You may say that's not fair. I don't do that. And while that may be true, you do support a man that does. You've seen all he's doing, but you choose to stand with him. So you are complicit and equally guilty. You have to understand there is no coming back from this. You've been accessories to crimes committed against humanity and violations of the Constitution. Your apologies will never be enough. For 10 years, smirking and insisting that you are right, unfortunately, you will spend the remainder of your life shamed for how wrong you were. You'll wear the stench of this regime and the damage it's done to this country and its people up until you draw your final breath. History will remember you as scourge of this country, all because you made the worst choice and you were either too prideful or stupid to step away. And my point of that is that people have to understand, if you're still standing with Donald Trump at this point, you are complicit. You are accessories after the fact to pedophilia, to treason, to racism, to misogyny, to all these things. You can say you don't support that, but you supported a man that does, and you did it proudly. You can't do that sort of thing and think you're going to walk away from it after it's done. There is going to be no empathy for you people. It's one thing if we were talking about politics and we just think differently, we can get over that. But what you did to this country, we can't get over it. And you motherfuckers, at least as far as I'm concerned, I want nothing to do with you now, in the future, or ever.
I agree with you on that, but I don't. This country has a history of forgiveness, and I think a lot of the stuff that we're going through now is because we were the bigger, quote unquote, we forgave what the South tried to do. We didn't. We pardoned Nixon, and I say we as a country, we did that. We're in this together. So, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I just, but I still see Democrats, wanting to work with Republicans. So it doesn't give me a lot of hope unless people like a Jasmine Crockett or like an AOC gets up there and starts running things. Because if you keep having the Chuck Schumers and Nancy Pelosi, I know Pelosi's gone, but if you keep having those people up there like that, the Democrats are just going to forgive and they're going to, I mean, look what happened with January 6th. I mean, that should
Yeah,
have ended there. I mean, hell, the Access Hollywood tape should have ended it. I mean, Gary Hart wants his money back. I mean, we talk about that shit, but Kevin McCarthy going down there and forgiving him, and just if Merrick Garland would have had a little bit of the fight that Pam Bondi does, maybe the Democrats need to be a little partisan for this stuff. Maybe but we always do that because we always the Democrats always. I mean, we can't get nothing done because they're always playing defense.
right.
They want to get something done, but the Republicans come up with this shit. They gotta, I mean, look at Biden. He spent those 4 years trying to get shit together. Just because people couldn't vote for Hillary. Because a lot of Democrats couldn't vote for Hillary. Now we're going back into it. Biden fixed a lot of shit, and me and you have said it. The economy was a lot better under Biden.
No
Now the polls
question.
see it. It's kind of like that song, "You don't know what you got till it's gone." I mean,
Exactly.
it's like, Biden had one bad fucking debate and they fucking crucified him, George Clooney on down.
Yeah, the Democrats did.
I
I
think
will
the
say, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think, I just think that, all that shit Biden, we're gonna need somebody like a Biden to come in there after 2020, was it 2028, and get this shit done. Somebody younger, but you're gonna have a fucking fighter that knows what he's doing. You can't have somebody that, is a lot of this, embracing politics and, hugging it out. I mean, if they got to do anything, the Republicans are talking about doing the filibuster stuff. I hope they do it because they
And I
can
do
do it.
too.
Democrats to do it. I mean, we just can't. I mean, you're fighting for democracy here. You can't be nice about shit.
Well, I think we need a fighter, but we also need a consummate politician, because the reason Joe Biden was as successful as he was is because he understood the system. One of the reasons, besides his own stupidity, Donald Trump is a failure is because he doesn't understand the system. He tries to push against the system, and unfortunately, the system is bigger than he is. And I know what you're saying. People have short memories, and they will forgive and forget. I can't speak for anybody else, but I guarantee you this: I will never forgive and forget.
No, me neither.
And you talk about people that we've forgiven. I'll tell you one group we've never forgiven: anybody in this country. We've never forgiven the Nazis. And this is about as close to the fucking Nazis as you're going to get.
Yeah, and it's it's funny, and it's like they criticize people for calling them that. It's like they go out there and they like the media will get out there and they'll say something. Well, what did you call him, a Nazi? I mean, it's like you're more worried about name calling than you are the actions of these people, what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, what they're doing, they're telling you now is they can just break down your doors. They can take you out of there. I mean, we've seen it with Old Soul. They're taking U.S. citizens and fucking them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, and it's sad, but I mean, I honestly think, and I think you nailed it. You were talking about, and it's unfortunate that, all the minorities that have been beaten up and killed over the years, it took two white people for fucking people to like start running around. A life
Yeah.
is
That's,
a life is a fucking life, man. There is nobody in this fucking world. I don't care how much money you have or how much money you don't have. Nobody is more important than anybody. The CEO and the janitor and the same fucking people. Their bank accounts may be a little bit different, but we're all and that's the thing about it. I guarantee you, if Jesus was around, and I'm a big fan of Jesus, his teachings,
yeah.
because he's like a lot of he's like a lot of politicians. He hangs out with prostitutes. Not in the same way, but he was woke. And I hear people call woke, and I'm like, do you fucking even know what that means? I
No,
mean,
they don't.
they
Any
got
more
to be
than they know
woke,
what socialism means. They don't know what socialism means.
but it's the fucking Super Bowl. It's always fucking something with these people. It was Katy Perry back in the day. She was a fucking antichrist because she was on some lion and it was in the Bible. They don't like Bad Bunny now. I like Bad Bunny. I don't know his music, but that motherfucker don't back down. And
No.
it's like they want to have their opinion. They want to have their opinion, and they want to have their opinion, but they don't want nobody to have theirs. It's like Trump. All these times when people would say shit about Trump in his first term, is like, well, I don't think celebrities should saying shit about the president. I go, you mean like Trump did with Obama?
Yeah, exactly.
They had that mean fucking tweets. And they had the fucking mean tweet that Obama read was fucking from Trump on Twitter. They want to have their say, but they don't want us to have our say. And it's like, and I hear shit. And I have a lot of family that I made the mistake of, I don't really talk to them anymore because they think, well, he used to be a Republican, but he's fucking gone all leftist on us. And I guess in their way I have because I just see how a thing goes, and I know that the party of John McCain is not the party of Donald Trump.
No,
And
not even
I look
close.
at things a lot different as I'm older. But I got family that, I've had them call me and I talk to them and I'm like, okay, be the bigger person, and I guess it may be my Christian thing or whatever. So, I mean, then I look on their Facebook page and I see I am Charlie Kirk and I'm going, Jay, don't fucking do it. Because it's like, I remember growing up and being around family members I couldn't fucking stand. And I remember telling at Christmas and shit, I told myself, I ain't gonna fucking do this when I get older. And it's kind of the same thing.
Well, it is. The whole thing with the Super Bowl thing is absolutely hilarious. They're
Ridiculous.
upset about Bad Bunny because he's a foreigner. Then we find out he's from Puerto Rico, meaning he's not a foreigner. He does speak Spanish a lot. I've seen him in the movie he was in. I've seen him on Saturday Night Live. I don't know one of his songs. And I have a feeling if I heard his song, probably wouldn't like it. But I
But
like
what
the guy. I like the who's getting more pressure than him and he doesn't give a fuck. So
no.
so they decide this was a weird thing. They when it first came out that Bad Bunny was going to be on, they said, "Well, we're going to put on a competing show," and they started talking about it, and then they canceled it because there was no interest in it. And now they bring it back at the last minute, just as is coming. So we've got Bad Bunny and we got Kid Rock. Would have been cool in the 90s, maybe, but somebody gave out some figures as to how this is going to go. Kid Rock has about 5 million streams a year. Okay. You know how many Bad Bunny has?
I can only
Eight,
imagine.
85 million a year. So there's no comparison. And then you've got Kid Rock, who's this fake redneck who grew up a rich kid in a suburb of Detroit. He plays like he's this redneck cowboy type motherfucker. They're all tied up into this Epstein thing. And somebody came out with one of the songs that he wrote, and one of the lines was, I don't know the whole line, but it was, some call it statutory, but I call it mandatory. So here's a guy that is promoting pedophilia, basically, and he's their main guy, a guy that hasn't had a hit for a while. And it was strong in the 90s, and that's the best they got. Now, the other people they're bringing up on this event, I never fucking heard of, so I don't know who they are. But it's going to be interesting to see what the ratings are. We know what the ratings for the Super Bowl is going to be. It's going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
Is anybody going to watch this other than 4 or 5 Trumplafucks in any given town? I don't know. You're going to have a computer to fucking get it. So most of them probably don't have computers.
Well, I was a little disappointed because there's a band on there that I liked a lot. I didn't think they were political, and they're called a band called Shinedown. They're kind of low, but they pulled out for all this shit going on. They pulled out, and I guarantee you they were probably not. They've never been really political, but I think they saw the shit going on and they pulled out. And I think Ludacris did too. I think a couple of them did because I think what they're doing is they're seeing the blowback that's happening. You saw that clip I sent you from that wrestler, right? That MJF wrestler that was talking about he's on barstool.com, which is a
Yeah.
fucking right-wing rag. And he goes,
Yeah.
I'm not political, but I think pedophilia is wrong. And
Imagine that.
they were in Vegas, and there's a guy that's a wrestler, and he always wears a shirt. This is a AEW. This is like the Tony Khan. He's the guy that his dad owns the Jaguars. He's a billionaire, and his son owns AEW. And AEW's, I mean, it's pretty good. It's kind of like minor leagues. It's kind of, they don't really have territories anymore, but they were in Vegas, and the guy, he always had a fuck ice shirt on. All right. And they had the wrestling crowd chanting that. And like, they were like looking at each other like, oh shit, you've lost the wrestling crowd?
That's a problem. That's
That's,
because
yeah,
that's the essence of their crowd.
because that hey man, I resembled that Mark. But I mean, I know what you mean. It's like that. It's like, remember, I was a kid and I watched wrestling, and I remember thinking, oh, Trump's cool because he's at the wrestling I'm at. But I don't know if I ever told you the story, but they had a thing where that he's so into it that they had an angle one time where they blew up Vince McMahon's limousine, and like they killed him because he was going to be off screen for a while. He called the offices because he thought he died. Granted, if you're like, 12 or 13, 10, I get that because I used to believe it too. But when you're fucking probably at the time, what, 50, 60, and you believe that, it's just, he's not a smart guy. And this is the guy
No.
running the country, right? Oh, no. Okay. I take that back. This is the guy taking orders from Stephen Miller.
Did you hear the story about Greg Bavino? You brought up Vegas. Greg Bavino was sent to El Centro, California. He got demoted because of the crazy fucking abhorrent shit he did here in Minnesota. But he went to Vegas and he's sitting around a table in a bar called Bottle Blonde. Sitting there with a bunch of young guys and they're laughing and having fun and drinking alcohol and stuff. Somebody recognized him. Then the management of the bar sent the bouncers over and said, you got to go. And they said for safety purposes, but that wasn't the real reason. They literally picked these guys up and dog walked their ass out the door. So all I have to say to Greg Bavino, welcome to your life until you die. Everywhere you go, you will be thought to be a pariah and nobody will fucking welcome you. Not even fucking Vegas.
Well, I think they're getting a lot of pushback too because they're having, I mean, there's been some cases where it's been on TikTok to where like ICE has been at these Mexican restaurants and the people are like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Because there was like one story a while back that they ate the Mexican restaurant, then they arrested the people there. And it's like, and it's like they're arresting people that are US citizens. They don't they're like that, they're that throw them in jail, ask questions later, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, it's like, when you say I need to see your papers, I mean, all you should probably see is somebody's driver's license. And it's like that kid that here they got thrown in. I mean, they were working on fucking their fucking citizenship. So even if you're working on it, you're expelled. You know what I mean? Or expelled, should be deported is more like a word for it. But
Yeah.
Castro, our state representative, he was on that and he got that done. And I think he did a really good job doing that. That's somebody that I can see that it wasn't our former mayor, it was his brother, Joaquim and Julian. It was Julian and Joaquim, and I think
Yeah.
Joaquim is the state senator, and I think I get them mixed up because they're twins and stuff. I was really proud of him that he did that because I mean it's like what's happening is that when he fires people, it's not that they did anything in Donald Trump's eyes that was wrong. It's because there's so much blowback. And these people that fucking still support Trump, I don't get that. I don't get how you put I mean, and some of these people, like, I mean, hell, fucking look at Giuliani. Giuliani was a fucking America's mayor there for a while. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He fucking ruined his shit. And it's so funny every time I hear the media say, well, he may get rid of Christy Nome and he may get rid of Stephen Miller. He's not going to do that. I mean, the only person that left was the freaking who's that guy that went to do the podcast again? So
Bongino.
yeah, he's the only one that got left because he saw the shit show that was going on. But he had Trump on there, and Trump was still talking about 2020, and he was
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, that's why we got to take the voting machines." And it's like I guarantee you that guy. I don't pay attention to him. I don't know, Bongino or whatever. I guarantee you that guy had a few podcasts talking about how Obama and Joe Biden were doing that, taking voting machines away. Now they got to, like everything that they have gone against MAGA and have talked about, Trump's saying it out now. I want to take your guns, I want to take the voting machines away. I mean, if you're a conservative and you're in a freedom loving thing, and that's what I get about the voting machines, that hurts Republicans too. It's
Yeah.
not just Democrats. It's and they act like this shit's just going to hurt the Democrats. It's not. Democrats
Well, see,
own guns. Republicans vote absentee ballot. It happens.
that's the thing that apparently Republicans don't understand. Donald Trump just pulls shit out of his ass. He doesn't think it through. He doesn't look down the road. He just says something and he's just trying to create havoc, chaos, create a shit show. And he hopes that it'll fall in his favor. But as we've seen, never does. I got to tell you a story that I heard today. Not an important story, but kind of illustrates just how immature and narcissistic Donald Trump is. During the infrastructure bill, money was all allocated to all these different things. And one of the things was something called the Gateway Tunnel, and
I
it's to
know.
go from New Jersey to New York. The money's there, it's all ready to go. It's probably a great thing for that area. It's going to save people a lot of time and ultimately some money. And Donald Trump has put a hold on it because that's a Biden thing, not because it's a bad idea, but the money's already been allocated. He doesn't really have the power to hold it back, although that's what he's doing. And he was talking to one of the Democrats. He says, well, I might be able to release the money if you rename Dulles Airport and Penn Station after me.
I think
Are
that
you,
was
are you
Schumer.
fucking are you fucking kidding me? Really? That is so immature and childish and really shows what kind of human you are. And he's not afraid to do it. He's fine with looking like an idiot.
I got in trouble on TikTok from some left people, and I was just kidding. I go and I saw that. I think it was who's the young guy that we like a lot,
Harry
Aaron
Sisson,
Aaron Parnas.
Aaron Parnas, yeah.
Yeah. And he put on there and he was talking the story. I think it was Chuck Schumer he tried to do that for with like during the shutdown. And I put on there, well, they ought to do that because he's the dullest president ever. Just a joke. Just a oh my God, I can't. Are you a Trumper? And it's like, dude, it's a fucking joke. And see that's kind of what I like about the Democrats too. Sometimes is they're so amped up on shit that they attack their own. It was a fucking joke. The dullest. I mean, he's the dullest president ever. And I think I guess like well, I should have said he's the dullest president ever. But they were like, oh, you're MAGA and you fuck you and all this shit. I'm like, dude, chill out. It was a joke. But
I'm
yeah,
very su-
it
I'm
doesn't
very
surprise.
surprised for as much stuff as I put on the internet that I've never gotten blowback like that. The only time I've gotten blowback recently is there was this young girl, young woman, whatever. She was 20 years old. She was cute and she was shy, and people were picking on her. And I said, you know what? You guys need to go follow her because if nothing else, she'll make you smile every day, and you will appreciate, what she has to say, not only about herself but in help to other people. So a bunch of people went to do it. She
I
went
did.
from 7,000 followers to 25,000 followers. Now that I'm not suggesting that was all me, but I did what I could to help out. So I'm doing this for this girl, and I refer to her. I said she's a cute little girl. You should probably check her out. And inevitably, somebody will come to my comments and say, "How dare you call her a girl? She's a woman. Don't diminish her like that." And I go, "Listen, bitch. I'm 65 years old. She's maybe 20. To me, she's a girl. She's
Yeah.
younger than my kids. She's a girl. And if you are suggesting that I'm trying to be mean to her by calling a girl, listen to what I fucking said. You, some people just want to complain. That's one thing I learned about radio is that you make a mistake and people just can't wait to remind you of it. And I always remind them, fuck, I make mistakes all the time. I'm no different than you. And the fact that you're calling me out on it, just say, hey, Mike, you fucked up. Okay, cool, I fucked up. But when you become outraged because I had the audacity to make a mistake, that's where I have the problem with it. Why are you putting me on a higher level than you? Because I bet we can look at your comments and find some fucking mistakes in there too. I make mistakes. Like I put the wrong date on a video and they go, it's not the 6th, it's the 5th. Really? If you're watching my videos and that's all you got out of it, quit watching my videos.
Yeah, it's you ever see that movie? There was a movie in the 90s and I mean it was perfect because about having an office called Office Space.
Yeah.
It was having work in a cubicle and the guy he doesn't do something one time and did you get that memo about those TPS reports and like everybody had to fucking tell him. Everybody had to fucking tell him, that about it and he got tired of it. It's like when I first got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I went to the doctor, and everything, and my numbers were high and everything. So they sent me to a nutrition class. And I tell you what, it was this older couple, but that guy kept bringing up my fucking numbers. And I'm like, look, dude, I get it. I'm a fat ass. It's like Austin Powers when they're talking about his teeth. I get it. I have bad teeth because the British have bad teeth. Yeah, you get to the point to where you just fucking talk about something over and over again. I mean, it's like chill out. I mean, nobody gets out alive. We're all gonna meet, I guess our maker someday or whatever, take that big dirt nap. I mean, just, don't be so offended by stuff. And I think a lot of times Democrats, that's why Democrats lose and they're called woke is because, I mean, and I get when they want to protest and everything, but I mean, it's like, they get that name cancel culture for a reason because, I
Yeah.
mean, they do a lot of that shit. Republicans are hypocrites because they're the worst ones about it. They don't call it cancel culture, they just call it boycotting. But I mean, and you shouldn't be called out just because you want to go protest Home Depot. Well, I got to go to Home Depot because it's the closest thing. Don't fucking shame me because I'm not going. I mean, I think for my fucking self. If we all thought alike, we'd be MAGA.
Right. I always get a kick out of when people complain about cancel culture. We shouldn't have cancel culture. Cancel culture is wrong. Okay, so who are you going to go complain to about it? You act as if cancel culture is a committee someplace that decides whether you're canceled or not. I explain it to people this way: cancel culture is just another name for public opinion. And it's
Yeah,
very simple. You do fucked up shit, the public has a bad opinion of you. If you
yeah.
don't want to be canceled, don't do fucked up shit. It's as simple as that.
But you shouldn't attack others if they don't share your. I mean, we shouldn't. We we need to like just because I don't agree with what you got, I doesn't mean I'm a Trumpafuck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we get to the point to where we nitpick on stuff. It's like this fucking people that called Joe Biden Genocide Joe. How's that fucking working out now?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah. How's that going?
I mean? And
I, I've been pretty fortunate though. I don't get people pushing back on me that much. I talked to Tom Powell Jr. just recently, and I've
yeah,
watched what happened to Hawk. These guys regularly get in trouble. Somebody wants to complain about them, about something they said, if they misread what they said, or if they didn't misread what they said, they didn't like the fact that this guy that they watch every day said something that they don't agree with. And for me, I always say shit that people disagree with. I say shit that you disagree with. I say shit that my wife disagrees with. But that's okay. You want to disagree with me. I have no problem with it at all. But if you're a Trumplefuck and want to support pedophilia, we got a problem, and I'm going to come back.
I think that they run into the problem because I've always liked Tom Powell. I think he's one of the first people, and I may have found you through him because I followed him a long time ago because we're about the same age, both 72.
Yeah,
Not 72
yeah.
years old, born in 72. And I mean, he's out of Chicago and stuff, and I watch him a lot and stuff. He's pretty frank, actually,
He
about stuff.
is.
Yeah, and I enjoy him. Like I said, I probably followed him. That's probably I got you because you're probably mutuals. But I hope you have him on more often. Um, yeah, what the fuck I was gonna say? Yeah, God, I guess I got so
Well, I,
fucking.
th- I think anytime you come out and speak out about something, there are going to be people that are put off by you. Now, I will say this. I don't really care if I put off people. I'm just speaking my truth, what I believe. And if you don't like it, great. If you do like it, great. But I'm still saying it. Now, that said, with Trumplefucks, with the people who follow, I'm not trying to contradict them, but maybe I'll have some contradictory attitudes about things. When the Trumplefucks, that's a whole different thing. I'm going against you on everything for everything every fucking time. And I'll do that unapologetically because we're talking about the difference between right and wrong, evil and decency. Um, and part of what's going on here with like Tom Powell Jr., Hawk, or me, or any of the other people out here, one of the reasons people follow us is because we say things that most people don't feel like they can say, either because of where they work or their family, or they don't have the platform or anything. So they want somebody to say those sorts of things. And I feel kind of an obligation to do that, to say things that people might go, oh, that's a little harsh. But I happen to be a harsh motherfucker. So, what am I going to say?
Well, I think you don't run into the problem they run into because they engage with those a lot more than you do. You just
Yeah.
fucking blend in their house. I'm the same way. Like when I'm on TikTok, like my TikTok's not really political, but I'm affiliated with you and I talk about you on there. I mention you. I'm not just, we're partners in, the podcast we do.
Yeah.
And if I get I'll get somebody that'll friend me. And if I look at their page and I see all fucking shit they're ragging on leftist wing trash, and stuff and I ban them. I block them. I don't care. I mean, I don't need to follow that bad.
No.
But 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 I think also, yeah, I just think that you actually you don't engage and you don't face the consequences, but you know who does? Fucking TJ. He always gets fucking popped on your lives, and it just cracks me up. It's like, oh shit, and it's like, man, maybe they're going after TJ and not me, Mike the Boomer. I mean, it just cracks me up because I think also Truck says something about it too, and it
Well,
seems like
I,
everybody gets popped, it's TJ.
I, I'm anxious to hear from TJ tomorrow because he texted me today and he said that, he lives in a town on the Lake Erie, in Pennsylvania. And he said, he texted me today and, um, he said ICE is now in downtown in his city.
Really?
And yeah, and I'm trying to help him out because he said, he comes to me and where the hell is he now? TJ. Okay, he says, he's he said, here's what's funny. They're so stupid. They're in an area where it's all white people. in his town. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, they're dumb as fuck. He says, I'm going to drive down there tomorrow and see if I see any of them. I'm going to roll down my window and ask them, how can you suck 30 dicks a day with those masks on? And he says, I got a better one. I said, I got a better one. How can you guys suck each other off all day with those masks on? So, so TJ isn't shy about that. I said, TJ, those are okay, but here's one you might want to use. Do you use it? Do you use that mask as a bib when you're sucking Trump's poopy ass? Give you an
You know what
idea what kind of texting we do.
you know what you ought to do? Because I remember this happened one time with a bunch of us were teenagers and we were driving by, and of course it's the '80s, so nothing's politically correct. And we're driving by, we drive by a gay bar. One of my buddies, he's always that one. Hey, why don't you motherfuckers like poontang? I was like, oh god, that would be something great to fucking yell at ICE. I mean, that may actually get the reaction because, oh, you call me gay, you know. But yeah, I think the Democrats they got, you know, I'm kind of surprised because I remember you and Eric were talking about and I agreed with y'all that there was going to be a shutdown because of the ICE funding, and there still may. I mean, I don't know how that works, the funding that goes on now, if that's going to keep us going, and it's just the DHS that's going to run out.
It is just DHS and some other stuff, so we aren't going to have the shutdown, but
Partial.
they're going to have some debates over
I
DHS. And I saw the demands that they want. There's no way the Republicans are going to agree to it, so we might very well have a shutdown of money going to DHS, which is I'm fine with.
But I mean, I'm really, you know, they were given, you know, as much shit as we give Schumer. I mean, I got to give him credit because they actually got them to negotiate on DHS. They weren't going to do that before. They were
Right.
very, they even soon said that they were not going to vote on that. So I think Texas Paul came out there and was talking about that. Another good follow, if you know him on TikTok, and they're
Yeah.
good, who who's like us, looks MAGA, but he's not. And
Right.
he was talking about like, you know, we give Schumer a lot of shit, but I mean, Schumer's done a good job lately with stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean, but it's like, you know, he's still too old. He needs to go and you get newer blood in there. But I mean, I'm surprised he got I mean, and I think it was, you know, Ladybug that said something. That was a bad deal. And you know, but I don't think that,
Have
you
you
think about
seen have you seen
begging
Lindsey
for money
Graham
on,
on TV lately? He's
yeah,
begging for money. He looks like
wasted,
he's
dude.
drunk. I think he's going through some things. I think he's pretty nervous about something because he sees the end near, and he has been right up Donald Trump's ass for a long time. And I think he knows what's coming, and it's not going to be pleasant for him.
I I got a bad joke for Lindsay that reminds me of I had a buddy of mine that do a podcast. They were talking about '80s porn, and there was some girl was on there, and every time I hear that voice, I think of Lindsey Graham because I got drunk. I got drunk on cock. I was like, "That's Ladybug for you." And
Oh wow.
I know. I just think about that because he's one of those guys that it's okay to make fun of because he's closeted when you don't have to be. I mean, in his case, the ones that crash Twitter, Grinder, but they're the worst against their own. It's like
Right.
ICE attacking the Hispanic, like that one guy. Let me see your papers. He goes, "Bitch, why are you asking me for my papers? Because of your accent." Bitch, you got a bigger accent than I do. I mean, it's just it makes no fucking sense. I mean, that was actual happened.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know, I think, you know, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that a line in Schindler's List? I need to see your papers. Wasn't
Yeah.
that?
That was common with the Nazis, and you got to show me your papers. You know, the other guy too that we haven't heard much talk about, but maybe on the way out, is Mitch McConnell. Last I heard, Mitch McConnell was in the hospital with flu conditions, and he's 84 years old. Um, and the chances are they're telling us it's the flu and it's something more serious. That makes it interesting too. Now, if Mitch McConnell dies, here's what happens. He tried to find a way around this, but I don't think he did. If he dies,
Oh yeah.
in office, and he's in office till 28. Okay.
Oh, so
Then
he's not
the
up there.
no,
Oh
he
wow,
just
I thought
got
he was up there.
elected.
Wow. Okay.
I think he's till 28. Um,
6.
but
Okay.
anyway, if he
Got a
dies, then the governor appoints somebody to fill his position,
Who's a Democrat?
who's a Democrat, Andy Bashir. So that would be pretty fucked up. So if he dies in there, it wouldn't surprise me if they try to cover it up for a while. But you haven't heard much about Mitch McConnell. I heard he went in the hospital and then it's nothing. So it'll be interesting. Now, Mitch McConnell tried to game the system when he was having troubles where the legislature would have to pick the candidate, and then the governor would have to choose from their choices. And Governor Bashir said, "Nah, I'm just going to appoint who I want to fucking appoint. You can make these rules, but the law is the law, and that's what I'm going to do."
Yeah, he will not officially, well, he's not going to run in 2026, but he will step down from the Senate at the end of his term in 2027.
Oh, it's 2027. Okay,
I say
so
that's
so about a year from now.
what Google says. Yeah. Where's Eric when you need him? But yeah, I think you're right. So he will not see because didn't the Senate have like 6 or 7 years?
Senators have 6 years.
Not secret. His term ends January 2027.
Okay, I thought it was
Oh,
29,
it is
but
this year. So it is this
that's
year.
even better. But if he dies in office, Andy Bashir is going to have to appoint somebody, and the Republicans are not going to be happy.
So they never passed that law, man. I remember them talking about that. They tried to pass that law and it never passed, right?
I don't think it ever passed, and even if it did pass, I don't know that it changed any law. It was just kind of I don't know. No, I think Andy Bashir will still be able to appoint somebody,
Well,
and
that's the
that
way it
will.
should. I mean, you shouldn't be able to. I mean, and that's the thing the Republicans are going to lose too. And I think that's kind of why they've been kind of failing is because they're losing a Mitch McConnell. You know, kind of like we lose a Joe Biden. I mean, Mitch
Yeah,
McConnell, he was a crafty motherfucker. I mean, he's the one. A lot of that shit were in this problem because they wouldn't convict Trump, and a lot of that would have happened. But I was listening to a thing now. You said this, I think, before anybody, Mike. You were talking about the Senate being in play. I think you and Eric were talking about that. Well, that's
yeah.
becoming more and more talked about now. The Hill had an article on it. Republicans are worried about that. I mean, it's and the voice of reason. Ron DeSantis came out there and talked about the Texas. He didn't have his white boots on, but he talked about the shit going on in Texas. But I think the Republicans, for the most part, I think they're dumb. I know they're dumb because I think that maybe that's why Lindsey's hitting the bottle a little bit more because they see what's coming. And he was on Hannity the other night, and he was like, begging for money. So
He's always begging for money.
the Republicans may be so toxic that it's not so much that they're gonna I think what's gonna help the Democrats win is that the independents, they've lost the independence. If you're an independent and you're still support this stuff, you're MAGA. You're not and I
Yeah,
disagree. People say if you're independent, you're MAGA. I don't agree with that. I think people can think and be independent about that. They can vote for either one because I used to be that way. But if you still support this, you're MAGA. And I think that's going to allow a lot of people. But I think also a lot of the people that are MAGA, Trump's not on the ballot. And I think people, even people who would call themselves MAGA, are just tired of it. I mean, every fucking day it's something. I mean, that's why I like having Joe Biden. It's like, is Biden still fucking alive? Haven't heard from him in a couple of days. I mean,
yeah.
that's why they were able to laugh at Biden. Oh, he's in the basement. Well, yeah, he didn't have a fucking press conference all the time. And you saw those? Did you see those that thing I sent you about that Trump about how he's in the limo with Putin? Putin's holding his nose, and that girl,
Yeah.
the kid holding his nose, and I mean, it's. And somebody was saying he has a diaper guy that. I mean, you could not pay me enough, Mike. I mean, it's bad enough changing a baby. Imagine an 80-year-old baby.
Well,
Woo!
in the Epstein files, there's an email from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell saying Donald Trump is coming. make sure we have plenty of diapers because last time he shit all over the place. That's in the fucking files. So we
You-
find out that he's buddies with Epstein and that he does, in fact, wear a diaper. And without a diaper, he's a little messy.
Well, I believe that because The Apprentice talked about it because they had celebrities talk about that. But I'm seeing something now that I don't think people were talking about, and it wouldn't put it past me. But I think that they're putting stuff maybe in the Epstein files to kind of throw people off to not believe them. Because there's something that came out today. I don't know if you heard about it, but there was something that in the Epstein files supposedly that Epstein believed that Biden was replaced, that Biden died in like 18 and was replaced. So don't think I don't see Epstein. I mean, I didn't know the guy, but and I'm on the list, thank God. But I didn't. I just see maybe them putting stuff in there. I mean, they're taking shit out, so why wouldn't they put shit in there? I saw
Well,
this. I saw this picture, and it was of Charlie Sheen, and it's when he was like in his fucking thing, and he had cigarettes coming out of his face, and he was
tiger
not
blood.
us. Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen.
Well, there might be some things planted in there, but it isn't out of the realm of possibility of somebody like Jeffrey Epstein, who is clearly not of a sound mind, spouting some of these conspiracy theories, either to support what he's going after or is just fucking crazy. But the Epstein files, the interesting thing about the Epstein files, and I'm kind of disgusted and disconcerted about it. Prior to the election, we heard QAnon and other people making these wild claims, Pizzagate, they're eating children, they're taking this fluid out of babies and doing it, and sex with babies and small children. And the fucking thing about it is a lot of that shit is in these files. Not only just complaints and tips, but in emails. There was a reference um, Epstein made about a 9-year-old Brazilian girl. I mean, it's really horrific when you think about it. And I'm trying to imagine they released these 3 million. And what we're hearing about in these files has got Donald Trump spinning. It's got people getting fired. It's got other countries starting investigations. If this is the stuff they felt comfortable releasing, what must be in the other 3 fucking million?
Well, there's a thing that came out in the Hill that said that the Congress is going to get the rest of them like by next week. I don't know if you heard that or not, but their Congress is going to be able to see the rest of them next week. Did you hear that story?
I didn't hear that story. I did hear, I mean, I heard Todd Blanche say if members of Congress want to see the unredacted files,
Oh, okay, that way.
then and I know some people are going to see the unredacted files. I don't know what comes of that. Do they tell us? I mean, there's some videos and pictures in there that are just horrific, but many of those they won't ever release because it's fucking illegal to do
Yeah, we,
that.
yeah.
Um,
There was one time I remember back, and I read about this lady, this person that wanted to report a child abuse, and they had an email, and this is I think back in the Bush days or whatever. But she reached out to the DOJ about it, and they said that she goes, "Well, can I forward it to you?" She goes, "No, you can't do that because it's illegal." Even I go, even to the DOJ. So
yeah,
it's like harboring or transmit or transporting child pornography. That's how much
right.
they take it out. So it's like, yeah, but according to Donald Trump, all these releases exonerated him. I he we both that guy, that neurologist, that physical therapist guy, he was on there and he talks about, and I know we've talked about him before, and I think Trucker T brought him up or TJ. And I've sent you a couple of him, but he's got 1 to 4 months to live or something like that, and all the stuff he's doing. And I never knew what sundowning was. It's like when you're sitting there and you're just, I mean, I guess I'm accused of that because I'm in bed by 9:30, like Ed. I thought that what sundowning was. You go to bed early, but Trump doesn't sleep.
No,
And some of the shit he does now, he was talking about that. is how they're starting to see that across the seas, but they're like people that were his allies are starting to see how bad off he is. And
Well, I
they're
mean, he's clearly sundowning. He went through one of those last night where early in the morning he decided to post a video of Barack
Michelle.
and Michelle Obama's face superimposed over the bodies of monkeys, which is clearly racist, and there was a lot of pushback against it. Then Carolyn Levitt came out and said, "Why are you so fake outraged about this stuff? Why don't we talk about the more important things?" And I tend to agree with her. Why don't we talk about the more important things, like Donald Trump showing up 5,300 times in the Epstein files, where his name is tied to the rape and the abuse of small children? Let's talk about that. Um, but then he got kickback from all the Republicans in Congress. They said, "Motherfucker, you cannot do that." So they pull it down. And then what does Donald Trump say? "Oh, one of the staffers put it up, so we just took it down." He can't take accountability for anything. There's no way. There is no way that at 2 or 3 in the morning, some staffer just decided to post that video on Donald Trump's True Social. I would guarantee you, unless he asked them, he's the only one posting on True Social. He'd have to be, just looking at the ridiculous shit he says.
Well, it did one thing. It got Hakeem Jeffries fired up. You see that?
Yeah.
He said, fuck you. Like he said, fuck Donald Trump and his vile racist. It's like, okay, is this the Hakeem Jeffries we need? I mean, it's like, is this the guy that are we coming by? Are we going to get the give him the comeback of the year award? Because I mean,
It,
he's still a young guy, so he's still got some, he's my age, so he's young, right? So he's got some years in him, unlike Schumer. So, maybe the Democrats are finally, I mean, it's what it's going to take. We're not playing with people that play by the rules.
you know who else are pissed off? Surprise. Senator Tim Scott, the black senator that's a Republican. People questioned whether he was married or not, and the Republicans weren't sure about him, so they pretty much excluded him from everything. He spoke up too, and he was not happy about this racist comment. And he said as much: "This is racist. This needs to stop. You need to pull it down." Ultimately, they did pull it down. And then somebody asked Donald Trump, "Are you going to apologize for that?" He said, "Nope, not going to apologize. Just not going to apologize." He'll never apologize for anything. He'll never admit he was wrong under any circumstances. And it's these things, as he becomes more
Was the
diminished,
assistant?
these things are going to happen.
Oh yeah, it's going to get worse. It's
Yeah.
already starting to get worse. But there was something I think in his Kim Scott's he said this is the most racist thing Trump's ever said. So he's pretty much admitting it right there. He's said other racist shit. Like little Freudian slip there, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the most racist thing he
Well,
said,
he
but
said that. And if he's saying it's the most racist, that means he's acknowledging he said racist shit before.
yeah, absolutely.
But then something like
Absolutely.
that
Well,
you admit it's racist.
you know what the thing I think is concerning Donald Trump the most at this point? When it comes to problems, narcissists are fine with it if they can control it and manage it. Now, with regards to the Epstein file, it's becoming harder to manage for him because there's just too much stuff. But he can still have the DOJ try to obstruct or try to avoid getting information out. Plausible deniability, at least in his mind. But now, since these files have come out, there are other countries doing investigations: the UK, Lithuania,
Oh, France.
Poland. And so when they do these investigations, Donald Trump has no control over them. They're going to spill the beans. They're going to come out with the evidence. And not only are they not going to avoid burning Donald Trump, I suspect they'll be first in line to burn that motherfucker down if they have anything. I've said this before. DOJ is not the only people with evidence. They aren't. The UK jumped on Prince Andrew very early because they knew what was coming, and they knew what was coming because they had evidence. And I suspect the same thing with Lithuania and Poland. And Donald Trump is nervous at this point because he cannot control them or stop them. He might go in and say, if you release that, you're going to get tariffs. Fuck you. You've already put tariffs on us. This shit's coming down. We want you gone.
He's in a bad position right now because his buddy Elon got raided by the French, Viva la France, raided its offices there,
Yeah.
and I'm just hoping that that he did interfere in that 2024 election that we'll get that because I mean that's something that that needs to be released too in addition to the Epstein files. But I said something. I read something that Trump is mentioned more in the Epstein files than Jesus is mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah. And they
Saying,
also said, and they also said he's mentioned more often in the files than Harry Potter is mentioned in Harry Potter.
wow,
That's crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy.
I know you and Eric were talking about him maybe being the kingpin. As we go along, I think you're right. I think you guys are onto something. He could be. I mean, I don't know. And
Well, at the very least, he's a partner. I mean, no one can convince me otherwise. If there's $1 billion involved in this mess, um, and it looks like there was $1 billion that they found, you can't tell me Donald Trump isn't going to want to taste, or
yeah,
want to be included in that situation. I I've been thinking about this whole thing, and I mentioned it with Ed yesterday when I was talking to him. And I said, I'm getting a clear picture of what I think was going on with the Epstein files or the Epstein situation. Most of us thought it was, oh, they tricked people to come in and do fucked up shit, and then they blackmailed all these people, and this is how they made all their money. I'm beginning to think differently now about that. I'm not saying blackmail wasn't involved, but I think they created a service company that wealthy men were willing to pay for.
oh yeah,
I think the videos and the footage was just insurance. If they don't pay or they try to speak out against them, you know, they provide the service that is highly illegal. These rich and entitled motherfuckers go in there and they want to buy what they want to buy. So there is a video, and they know there's videos of them. And the whole point of the video is you don't fucking talk, motherfucker. If you get caught up, you do not talk. Otherwise, this shit's coming out. I think it was more insurance than an actual blackmail. That's not to say there wasn't some blackmail, but I think this was a big service company for wealthy people that wanted particular things that were illegal. They provided that service, and that explains more how they were able to make so much money. Because I'll be honest with you, when you got that many wealthy people, if all you're doing is blackmailing them, you're going to end up dead one way or another. And he
yeah,
didn't while he was doing what he was doing.
yeah. It's like that. It's like that movie 8 mm with Nicolas Cage about the snuff films.
Yeah,
That shit really happens to where they do that kind of stuff, and and it wasn't Tom fucking Hanks or Hollywood. It's probably these people they're used to a certain lifestyle, and it's almost like the Blacklist if you ever watched that with James Spader about how these rich people have these fetishes. I mean we all kind of have fetishes, I guess. Maybe not the same as Lindsay, but
yeah,
and I mean but it's just and you just talk about that they don't think of us like they don't think of me and you like anybody else. We're a bunch of cattle.
right,
I mean, we're a bunch of working heads. That's why they get the tax breaks and we got to work for it, because if we don't work we'll be on the streets.
right,
So yeah, I see that. I can see that happening because you see that in movies all the time about how the rich get away with shit, and how I mean, there's always, I mean, an idea always comes from something. It's like The Sopranos. I read an interview with an FBI guy talking about how that show was really, about how it was, is because they had people doing that. And you've seen movies like this to where, they use the person, or man or woman, and then they snuff them. They get rid of the body
right.
or whatever. I mean, you see that happen in movies all the time, and I mean, I guarantee you that probably happens in real life. So that's a good point.
Well, there's even some suggestions of that very thing in the Epstein files that we see now. There's all kinds of talk about murder and disposal of people and kids and that sort of thing. Um, and it sounds so crazy. It sounds so out of the realm of possibility to us because we're just normal people. But when you're wealthy and you're a little fucking nuts in the first place and you're entitled, I want this, this, and this, I'll give you this much money, do it. And I think that's where we were at with the Epstein situation. I think they had a service business. I think Donald Trump was involved business wise. It would surprise me if he wasn't. I mean, he had those pageants. He had Mar-a-Lago, where he had younger girls working there, and they were being recruited by the Epstein folks. Uh, and I think that Donald Trump and Epstein probably had some other business dealings. The word is that they broke apart because of some property deal that Donald Trump fucked over Epstein, which isn't surprising. But I, I wonder if they're more worried about the business part of it being exposed. There are other people coming out saying that Epstein was a spy for Israel. Not
Yeah.
out of the realm of possibility.
I I
Crazy
I
enough to say.
I hate that this is doing to me is it is making me a conspiracy theorist because I was like that growing up. And I remember, I think what cured me from it was 9/11 because all these fucking conspiracy theories, and I just like, no. And it just really, and then when people started talking, I mean, it went from like 9/11 conspiracies to Pizzagate. I was like, you know what? I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore. And there's a rumor, or I don't know how true this is, but I read this. I read Threads a lot because it reminds me of old Twitter back before they destroyed it.
Yeah.
There's somebody that's, and I don't know if this is a crazy left-wing reporter, but Savannah Guthrie's mom is missing.
Yeah.
And she went after the whole Epstein files with a vengeance, supposedly.
Well, she interviewed a bunch of the victims.
Is this trying to send a message or something? I mean, and then you notice that Trump's calling her now. I mean, we're
Yeah.
starting to think like MAGA, like, oh, Trump called her. I mean, because it's almost, I mean, you can't trust him.
Well, here's the thing. I was never one big for conspiracy theories. I thought QAnon was fucking crazy. I still think they're crazy.
They are.
Um, but when we hear a conspiracy theory and we've seen what's gone on already, every time I hear a conspiracy theory, I think that's crazy. And then I look at Donald Trump and the things he's done. I go,
Yep.
I guess it's possible. Did he fake his assassination in Butler when somebody died? Immediately I said, that's not true. Nobody would have died if it was a fake assassination. Now I have to go, it's pretty weird. It's pretty fucking weird. We don't know anything about this situation. He claims he got hit in the ear, but there's no mark. And when you get hit with an AR-15 bullet going at a high speed, there's going to be a mark, even if you're Donald fucking Trump. So when we hear conspiracy theories, it's tougher um, to dismiss them because of all the crazy shit we're seeing. Everything that's going on now is something. Everything that's going on now with Donald Trump. If you told us this was going to happen 10 years ago, you'd say, "Oh, that's crazy conspiracy theory shit. That's not going to fucking happen." But here we are.
Yeah. I mean, it just gets me that, all these QAnon people, they're perfectly fine with what Trump's doing now. And, I mean, my God, thinking that, JFK Jr. was going to come back. I mean, he
Yeah,
wouldn't fucking run with Trump anyway. He's a Democrat. But it's just, some of the shit that, some of the shit that I grew up, having to listen to and, that everything was heavy metal was, Satan and all this stuff. And then they talked about the bands I used to listen to, how they fucking worship the devil. It's like, no, you go to fucking Norway, you go to Denmark, you don't go where they fucking those bands burn fucking churches down. That's a Satanist, you know what I mean? I mean, this is like nothing. So it's just that whole conspiracy theory. And I still got friends that do that shit, but they're silent now. They're silent. I mean, ever since when Obama was president and Biden was, oh, well, they're going to stop the midterms. And you're having the left go into that now too, because I think that's always the case. But he can't do that and stuff. And you have a lot of people that are just losing hope, but that's what they want you to do. But we're seeing a lot of fight back in this country. Minnesota's leading the
Yeah.
way on it. So
Yeah, well, we're coming toward the end, and I wanted to bring this one up because I think this is a bigger deal than we're making it out to be at this point. And no doubt heard the story about this whistleblower and this complaint against Tulsi Gabbard and them trying to hide it in a vault when they're supposed to turn it over to Congress. And they're saying this is so earth shattering that it could affect national security. Now, I don't know what's in that complaint. Um, but apparently, the Gang of Eight was supposed to look at it today, meaning Friday. I don't know if they have. I don't know if we'll ever find out what it's about. But if it's that dangerous and that earth shattering, we should know something. The thing
yeah,
I find the most problematic is if this complaint is against Tulsi Gabbard and it has any validity, or if even if it doesn't have any validity, she's still running national intelligence. She should be put on the sidelines and wait to see what comes out of this. Because if she is in fact an asset or whatever they're going to tell us, she's a danger to this country as long as she has any fucking power.
didn't Hillary call her that?
Yeah, called her a Russian asset.
Bernie Sanders defended her.
Yeah,
So he's been pretty quiet lately, hasn't he?
he has. Ed said something on the show yesterday that I hadn't considered, um, but it kind of makes sense. Donald Trump is a Russian asset, whether it's inadvertently
You know that.
or on purpose. He's being used by Russia. He may not realize it, but he's being used by Russia. Ed is suggesting that Tulsi Gabbard is basically Donald Trump's handler, the go between Moscow. Now that sounds crazy,
No, it doesn't.
but is it crazy? What we know about Tulsi Gabbard?
I mean, why would he put somebody on who's a Democrat, supposedly a Democrat? Why would he put them on the? I mean, he had no reason to freaking put her up there. And why would she run as a Democrat? Yeah, I mean that would totally. I think he's got at least two handlers. It's probably her with that and Stephen Miller here. So I mean, we both know that he's not doing it. It's like that freaking time in his first term where he had all the Secret Service and everybody, and him and Putin got in there together. Can you imagine if Joe Biden did that?
Yeah,
Somebody or Obama did. Like, remember when Clinton was talking to who's that girl that Bill Clinton was talking to that girl that was like I guess she was the attorney general. They were talking on his plane or Air Force One or something like that. Ah, fucking Republicans just lost their fucking mind. And they're losing their fucking mind. They want that Supreme Court Justice, what's her name? Is it Jackson? Investigating for being at the Grammys because they said some bad things about Trump. I mean, it's like they do all this shit, and it's like and I always tell people that support Trump. I said this way back. It's like you always hold your guy, you always hold us more accountable than your own guy. I mean, it's
yeah, it's a
like
double standard, no question.
it's gaslighting, and it's so funny. I never knew what fucking gaslighting meant. I never fucking knew what it meant. And it's just like I've had to fucking learn it, and I'm learning new technology and new terms that I don't fucking want to know because of this administration. You
I knew
know, it,
about gaslighting from very young because I had a father who was a narcissist and he used gaslighting all the time. And when you're close to it, you realize this is absolute bullshit. But there are 30% of the country that buy anything that comes out of his mouth, and there's where the problem is. You were talking about the independents. Interesting thing came out about the independents. Donald Trump's approval rating amongst independents is 29%.
yeah.
That is a problem. His overall approval rating is like 36%. He's not doing well. And he knows he's not doing well, but yet he'll still come out and say, oh, my poll numbers are great. Prices are going down. That is the question is he gaslighting or is he just unaware and the people around him are just telling him what he wants to hear? I'm not sure which.
I don't think he's smart enough to gaslight. I think, when you see him alone, he starts talking like when that girl from CNN was it Caitlin? What was her name?
Caitlin Collins.
You just smile more. I mean, what a that's kind of like what a misogynist guy would an abuser would say to a woman. You need to smile more.
And he thinks that hurts her. He's questioning her.
She's stoned, dude. She's stone cold, man.
Yeah, she
She
is.
it's her and Don Lemon right now, and I'm hoping that yeah, I'm hoping that other ones learn that stuff. And he goes after CNN. His billionaire boy friends own CNN. But the I saw something on TikTok that was real kind of funny. It's like, why can't your MAGA people fucking see Trump for who he is? And have you ever
Hard to
seen
imagine.
Django Unchained? I think it was Django Unchained.
Yeah.
When they're out there and it's Don Johnson. I think it's Don Johnson, and they all put those masks on, the KKK mask. They're like, why MAGA can't see who Trump is, and I can't see fucking shit in this thing. And it's like the mask, the hoodie that the KKK wore. My fucking wife worked 5 hours on these motherfuckers, and it was like they can't see it because they're wearing these fucking masks. I mean it was a funny part of the movie, but it was like
Yeah.
they got pissed off about that. Yeah, you can't see it because you're fucking blind.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wonder what's going to come out. Will they just shove it under the carpet, both Democrats and Republicans, because it is so dangerous? Or will it come out? The fact that this is an earth shattering complaint, you have to wonder if Donald Trump isn't involved, especially if Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, we know Tulsi Gabbard went down to Fulton County, Georgia to the election office. Nobody can explain why she went down there. That's not under her purview. Tulsi Gabbard was asked about it, and she said the president sent her down there.
Mhm.
Caitlin Collins and the Republicans said, well, Donald Trump has a right to do this and this. And then when they asked Donald Trump, he said, well, I only did it because Pam Bondi said to do it. He threw her under the bus right away. And then she had to dance around and try to explain away it. These people have a problem with Donald Trump because they don't know what's going to come out of his mouth, and they quickly have to improvise and figure out a way to talk around it or to support it. And this has got to be fucking exhausting for these people.
But I don't know why they keep doing it, because it's like I said, I mean, when you're a lawyer, you're not a stupid person. I mean, I guess anybody can make a point.
Presumably.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess you just don't have that common sense. But I just, and it's like ICE is bitching about, not getting paid. I mean, you can ask a lot of chefs, a lot of contract workers, Trump doesn't pay his bills. So this isn't surprising at all.
Well, it isn't surprising, and you would wonder why. This tells you how smart these ICE agents are. You and I will know well enough. If we're in a situation where Donald Trump says, listen, I need you to do something, and I'm going to pay you down the road. Trust me on this. I'm going to pay you down the road. Who's dumb enough to take that deal? Who is dumb enough to take that deal? We're hearing about them online complaining about not getting their health care, not getting their bonuses. Turns out their bonuses aren't quite as great as what they said. They get they get $10,000 a year for the next 5 years, but 3 years from now, Donald Trump at the latest will be gone, so they're not going to get paid. If they don't finish out their 5 years, they got to pay the money back. This is not a good deal, and these dumb fucks are going to get their ass kicked. They're probably going to get indicted, and they're going to go broke because Donald Trump fucked them again.
Yeah, I talked to somebody recently telling me about the Doge checks were on the way still, and that I mean, they were literally told, that's coming. I mean, that they. And when I talk to somebody like that, I realize that I can't talk to somebody like that. And people are like, well, why do you talk to people like that? I live in Texas. That's all I got. Every other guy's probably mad.
Well, I will tell you this from my experience with a narcissist. They will promise something and they won't come through.
Oh,
So then they'll promise something again. Well, this happened and that happened, so this will come through. And if you're caught up in a narcissist web, you will continue to believe that. They'll push the goalpost back and you'll continue to count on that. When I got older and I was in business, when I was dealing with truckloads of stuff and I would run into these people, I learned a lesson very quickly. If you tell me you're doing something and you say, whoops, something happened, I'll do it for you next week. there's a problem. You're never getting the money. So you better pull out of that fucking thing right now because you're going to get fucked in this deal. And I guess that's just desserts with these ICE agents. With all the horrific things they're going to do, they're going to have to suffer possibly legally down the road, but they're going to get fucked in the end. And Donald Trump will not care.
Yeah, because you're having, I guarantee you right now that you're having people still take notes. I mean, yeah, we know we don't think about that. A lot of people, that guy that, those two guys that, killed those people, they may not be thinking about it now, but, there's somebody probably in Minnesota that is. So, and like you said, there's no statute of limitations for murder. So,
Well, the state and the county are building a case on what they have, and while the DOJ won't share any of the evidence, there's multiple videos from multiple angles and multiple witnesses from multiple uh, stances in this situation. They've got enough to get an indictment. And whether they have to wait until Donald Trump is dead or whether they can do it tomorrow, I don't know. But there will be an indictment and there will be a prosecution. And based on the video, they will be convicted.
and or they don't do, federal, they do the state charges because
Right.
how's that for that insurrection or whoever in Utah?
I got to tell you, if I'm in the Trump administration or in ICE or something like that, and I'm counting on a pardon from Donald Trump, I'd be worried because Donald Trump could keel over tomorrow. And Donald Trump only does things if he's getting something in return. He's transactional. And at that point, wherever he's going to be and his future is shot, you can't give him anything. You got nothing to give him. So if you're counting on a pardon, I don't know if I'd count on it. You got to understand how Donald Trump does business.
And it's like you said, when those trials come and he's gone, he can either be out of power or he'll be dead. We're gonna find out more shit about that guy, and you're gonna have people acting like Donald Trump. I never knew him.
Yeah. Yeah. I never knew him. There's a couple people that was on his staff. I can't remember their names. Uh, They were mid-level people, but they don't work for Trump now, and many um, and some networks want to interview him about who he is, and Donald Trump has already told the networks, you don't want to talk to those guys. They're dopes. They don't even know me. I don't even know them, and it's just the typical Donald Trump stuff, and it's not going to work. Donald Trump's strategies that may have worked in the past, they're all failing now, and he's starting to sense it, and he's starting to get nervous because his normal strategies, his distractions, his diversion, none of it's working anymore, and he's starting to flail, as we can see.
Well, it's like the suing thing. That used to be a big thing, but I mean, he's not going to do it. There's discovery. They can't do it. Like he
Right.
wanted to do Trevor Noah for fucking Groceries and Grammys. I mean, it's like hell. I mean, I mean, you gotta be able to take that shit if you're president. But I think he's getting more paranoid. And I just, it may seem like a forever for us, but man, I just can't see this guy. I mean, much saying, but it's like, I mean, the Republicans are already pushing about the Obama thing, and I think we both agree we haven't seen nothing yet with this guy because he'll be up
No.
there. There won't be no handler doing this shit, I mean, if they want to fire somebody, fire Stephen Miller for doing it. I would accept that.
This is one of the reasons I hate doing shows like this where I'm doing it a day in advance
Yeah.
because chances are some crazy shit is going to happen and we don't even know about it yet.
It's the fucking weekend.
I know it's the weekend. It's the weekend. All right, we're going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. Jace, I want to thank you for joining us. Tell them where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on here with this handsome, is it the other way? This handsome gentleman, Rational Boomer, call him Boomer too. We have a podcast called Taking a Break because we all need a break. Some of y'all might not like that, but we got to take a fucking break. Mike does a fucking podcast every fucking night. We need a break. Talk about something else besides Trump. So
Exactly.
I'm on TikTok, Gen X Jace at TikTok or whatever. I'm on. I think that's about it. That's the one. That's still the one I like to make my videos on and stuff. And I haven't. Everybody's talked about TikTok that, it's you're not going to see your algorithms. I still see you and people there, so it hasn't been. I mean, I don't know. I don't see White Wing and anything like that. And if I do, I just block them. I mean, I learned
Yeah.
from Mike that if you see something you don't like, just fucking block them.
Just fucking block them. Yeah, absolutely. All right. For those of you listening, thank you for taking the time. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.